Hey Navigators, today we are in St. Pete Beach, checking out the awesome beaches, plus places like this. The Don CeSar, one of the coolest hotels in the area. It's a little cold today, but the sun's out, and we're at the beach. So let's hit the road. Today we're back in Pinellas County, enjoying a ride near the gorgeous beaches of St. Pete Beach, where old and new provide a unique vacation experience. Hey Navigators, welcome to St. Pete Beach. Not to be confused with St. Petersburg, which is 15 minutes away, or any other beach in the area, because this island gem has beaches that have been ranked the best in the world, all while sporting a retro-chic experience. Now, I took this ride just after New Year, and you'll notice some areas still have their Christmas decorations out. We had a historic cold front heading our way, so I wanted to get this ride in while I could. Now, St. Pete Beach used to be called Long Key and was actually a number of small towns. One was named Pass-a-Grille, another Bella Vista, another Don CeSar Place, also St. Petersburg Beach, and then there were some other unincorporated areas of Pinellas County. But in 1957, by a margin of just 5 votes, 758 for, 753 against, they combined those places into one city called St. Petersburg Beach. And nearly 4 decades later, they shortened it to St. Pete Beach to separate itself from the idea that it was still part of St. Petersburg. Now, what's interesting is that not much has changed since hotels started dotting the white sands in the area, because St. Pete Beach is still primarily a seasonal town where residents come and go depending on the weather. Because of this, close to 30% of the homes are condos, and many of those are rented out while the residents are away. Now, St. Pete Beach as a whole is about 7 square miles, and what's crazy is that within this small patch of land, it has over 3,000 hotels and resorts, some of which harken back to decades past, but still retain their cool factor. Now, St. Pete Beach has also become a city of artists. It has more artists, designers, and people working in media than 90% of the communities in America. That's impressive. All right, now this awesome grand pink hotel on our right is called the Don CeSar. Now, if you remember the downtown St. Petersburg video, we rode by another pink hotel called the Vinoy. Now, they were built by different people, but they have similar architecture popular at the time, and they were kind of like visual siblings of each other. And if that were the case, the Don CeSar would definitely be the older brother of the two. All right, now as we pass the Don CeSar, we enter the neighborhood of Pass-a-Grille, which used to be its own town. Now, the name Pass-a-Grille is believed to derive from French fishermen who would grill their catch on the beach near the pass. So the term, and this is like French sounding, so I'm going to get it horribly wrong, but like Pass-a-Grille roughly translates to the Pass of the Grillers, and they believe that's where Pass-a-Grille got its name. Now, Pass-a-Grille is also recognized as one of the oldest beach communities on Florida's Gulf Coast because it had settlements as early as the 1850s. And with that, local lore also claims that the legendary pirate John Gomez visited the area in the early 1800s and may have hidden treasure on nearby islands. How cool is that? Time to get a metal detector. In the 1900s, Pass-a-Grille attracted numerous artists and writers who were inspired by its natural beauty and its tranquil atmosphere. And it's that artistic tradition that continues to influence the community of today and is why so many artists still reside here. Okay, it's time to feed Algo, the algorithm. As you know, there's no Google employee watching this video and going, "This is great. More people need to see this," which both of those things are true. Well, I don't know. I'm doing my best. But anyway, there's no person actually deciding whether it should be shared to others on YouTube. So it's looking for triggers. That's why people keep asking you to push buttons and leave comments and do whatever. So I'm going to ask the same. But you don't have to. I'm just asking you if you've enjoyed the ride. If you enjoy these videos, just click buttons, make comments, I don't know, do things. The new thing that it's checking is if you've watched it all the way through. I'm not saying you have to, but if you really enjoy the ride, just stick around to the end. Anyway, if you can, feed the algorithm and let's see what happens. Okay, so here are some stats for you. St. Pete Beach, as I mentioned, is 7 square miles. St. Pete Beach has a population of almost 8,800 people. 5% are under 18. Another 5% are between 18 and 24. 6% is between 25 and 34. 19% is between 35 and 54. 25% is between 55 and 64, so these percentages are getting slightly higher, leading to the culmination where 40% are over 65 years old. As far as education, 96% of the residents have finished high school, 4% are attending college, and 54% are college graduates. The per capita income on St. Pete Beach is $90,000, which is over double the national average of $41,000. And the median household income is $113,000, which is a lot more than the national average of $75,000. And on this small island, only 6% live below poverty level, which is relatively low compared to a lot of other places I've ridden through. The median home value is almost $1 million, and the average rent is $3,500. And on this island, with over 3,000 hotels and resorts, there are also over 4,500 residences. Now here, I stopped and I took out my small drone so I could show you how they're refurbishing the beaches after the recent hurricanes. Here, you can see how they added sand and blocked it from use. While here, you can see that the sandy dunes and the gorgeous beaches are open for normal use. Now, this is a cold winter day, so there's not a lot of people on the beach, but this for the summer or the spring during spring break, this place would be packed. And I gotta tell you, growing up and living in this area, you never get tired of the view of God's handiwork when you live in such a beautiful place. You know, one of the things I really love about St. Pete Beach is how it's kept many of its older hotels and resorts. Now, if you watched my Clearwater Beach video, during that ride, and which was beautiful, but nearly all the vacation resorts have replaced many of the original structures that lured tourists to the area back in the day. But in St. Pete Beach, there are still plenty of hotels and resorts that have kept their retro-chic vibe, allowing you to enjoy world-famous beaches in one-of-a-kind accommodations. All right, here we are back at the Don CeSar, and let's go into its history. It's really, really fascinating. Now, it all began in 1924 when a visionary Irish immigrant named Thomas Rowe purchased 80 acres of beachfront property for $100,000 and began his dream of building a pink castle. Now, Rowe hired architect Henry DuPont to design the hotel and Carlton Beard as contractor. Now, this is really, really cool. To ensure the stability of the hotel on the shifting sand and to avoid the high cost of sinking pilings deep into the ground, Beard devised a floating concrete pad and pyramid footings. And to this day, there is no sign of settling at the hotel. That's incredible engineering. Now, the architecture is a blend of Mediterranean and Moorish styles, which was very popular in the 20s. And when it was finished, the hotel had 220 rooms and 220 baths, and it cost $1.25 million, which was 300% over budget. But, you know, who's counting? Now, Rowe named the Pink Palace the Don CeSar after Don CeSar de Bazan, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I guarantee you I'm probably not. But that guy, that character, is the hero of William Vincent Wallace's opera called Maritana, and it's a story of lost love and vengeance. Now, why is that important? Well, according to hotel lore, when Rowe arrived in Florida to build the hotel, he was suffering from a broken heart. You see, the young Rowe had apparently been prevented from marrying the love of his life, a Spanish opera singer named Lucinda, whom he had met in England in 1925 while she performed in Maritana. Overcome by her beauty and her talent, he pursued her, and the two quickly fell in love. But like a sad opera, Lucinda's parents intervened and demanded she end her relationship. But after sailing to America, Rowe wouldn't give up. He continued to write letters to her. Tragically, The only response he ever received was a note addressed to my beloved Don CeSar, which was accompanied by a newspaper clipping reporting of Lucinda's death. In honor of his lost love, Roe named the hotel the Don CeSar. Now, whether that's true or not, and I believe it is, but either way, it's one hell of a story, right? Now, this 8-story, 40,000 square foot resort pink hotel opened on January 10th, 1928. And in those days, the dinner cost $2.50, and the room went for $24 a night. That sounds cheap, right? But in today's money, that dinner would cost you $45, and the room over $440 a night. Now, this was a seasonal hotel because this was decades before air conditioning. So the Don CeSar stayed open between December 15th and April 15th. Early on, it had famous customers such as department store owners Gimbel and Bloomingdale, Mayo Clinic's Dr. Walter Mayo, writers Faith Baldwin, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and his wife Zelda. Also, gangster Al Capone stayed there, Yankee great Lou Gehrig, attorney Clarence Darrow, and future President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Now, Roe was a smart businessman. When the Great Depression hit, he made a deal with the New York Yankees to use the hotel as its spring training residence, and that saved the hotel from going under. Unfortunately, after Roe's death, however, the building fell into disrepair, and during World War II, it became a hospital for the military based in St. Petersburg and later housed traumatized Air Force pilots. When the war was over, the once elegant hotel, still owned by the government, became a VA headquarters until the property was declared obsolete in 1969. The government left the Pink Palace in disrepair with peeling paint and gutted rooms. As it headed toward demolition, in 1972, the government sold the hotel to the city of St. Pete Beach, who then sold it to hotel entrepreneur William Bowman. And after spending $3.5 million over 18 months, Bowman and his partners reopened the Big Pink structure in November of 1973. And 2 years later, it was put on the National Historic Register, thereby becoming an official historic landmark. In 1989, the Don CeSar joined the National Trust's Historic Hotels of America and was designated the only historic resort on Florida's Gulf Coast. In 2015, it was awarded the Best Historic Hotel by Historic Hotels of America, and in 2023, it celebrated its 95th anniversary, which means that in less than 5 years, we could all drive our Navi down and celebrate its 100th anniversary. That would be awesome. You know, as you ride through St. Pete Beach, I think you'll come to admire what I have, which is St. Pete Beach has not lost its history. There are so many great hotels, these historic retro hotels like the ones on the left here, that allow you to stay on world-class beaches and some of the most unique accommodations you can find. I mean, it's amazing. Any sort of place you would like to stay, I'm pretty sure it's available on St. Pete Beach. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today. For me, time is the most valuable asset, and I am so grateful for any time that you have spent with me to enjoy this ride or any of the others. It really, really means a lot to me. So remember, when you're out there riding your bike through beautiful locations with cool histories, remember to be kind, be generous, be safe out there. And have fun, right? All right. Again, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.